cost a lot to go into an Olympic school if you made one? Or
No, we don't want this. We don't want cost to be a barrier. This is all about schools having the ambition for their pupils having the aspiration to achieve on the sports field, to be healthy, to be active, to express themselves culturally, to be interested in other cultures and in their own culture.
how did you become a sports minister?
The Prime Minister asked me. He asked me to be Minister for Schools.
Did you like have to do sports, anything? Do you have anything qualified for sports? Or?
No, I'm a complete amateur. The Prime Minister asked me to be the Schools Minister, and then when I became the Schools Minister, I had a look at the things that I was responsible for, and actually it was another minister who was responsible for sport, and I swapped a few things around so that I could take the sport, because knowing that we were hosting the Olympics down here, and I really enjoy watching sport. I'm a very keen Arsenal fan, for example. It's something just I'm interested in, so I kind of grabbed that off my colleague Andrew, who had previously been responsible for it, and I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. At the moment, what would you say the percentage of us, like schools like Wee Valley, having kids in the Olympics?
But currently, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get more pupils of whatever ability to do more PE. So we had a target of this year getting at least 75% of children doing 2 hours of PE, at least 2 hours of PE a week. We've beaten that target. We've got to 80%. We now want to both develop that to get that to 100% and extend it to 4 hours, which might include after-school activity. So that's the next stage, and we think that if we can do that, if we can, if you like, have mass participation in sport, not only do we then have healthier young people, and a healthy body leads to a healthy mind, and they will do better in their schoolwork, but a bigger base means that the elite sport have a much better pool to draw from. And it's the responsibility of other departments, the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, and people like Sport England, to work on how we recruit the talent, how we spot the talent and recruit it into the training that they need to become the medalists of the future.
How could people in Weymouth get into like something an event that's going on in London?
Well, if people here in Weymouth, young people, they need to make sure they do their PE in school, try their hardest, but join athletics clubs, join swimming clubs. We've got over at Portland, for example, we've got a fantastic torpedoes or swimming club at the Boscawen Centre, and they compete all over the county, and then through them, and it's just an example for swimming, but then by doing well in county competition, they'll be spotted to then take part in a county team, and then if they're in a county team, they take part in national competition that might take place in London, but they might take place in Manchester. That's got fantastic facilities because of the Commonwealth Games, or in Sheffield, we've got good facilities because in the past they hosted the World Student Games. And hopefully also, through that sort of structure, they might have opportunities to take part in the National School Games, which we've now developed. We had the first ones in Glasgow last year. We've got the next ones in Coventry this August. And that's a way that we're trying to get the elite school sports athletes to get used to competing against each other and develop that competitive edge with each other that they will take through their sporting lives, competing against each other consistently, which raises the general level of performance, and in the end they will be competing against each other to get into the Olympic team.
Has any schools in Weymouth competed in a national school?
I'm not sure. As far as I'm aware, there weren't any Weymouth pupils in the school games in Glasgow, and obviously I'd love to see them in Coventry or in the next one as they proceed. In 2011 it'll be in Sheffield. In 2012 national school games will be in the Olympic Stadium in London, and we've got to make sure that Wey Valley here is a specialist sports college and a leader of a school sports partnership locally, gets kids from Weymouth into those school games in the Olympic Stadium in 2012.
By games, is it going to be like athletics and
At the moment, they're testing me. There are a range of sports and Paralympic sport as well. So you've got swimming. I think you've got some athletics. You've certainly got gymnastics, table tennis, fencing. There's a limited range at the moment, but that's expanding all the time. We've got more sports coming in Coventry, and the plans are to keep growing it and try and get the full range of Olympic sport if we can by 2012.
Okay, man. Can you not ask the last few questions? I know, I don't like to break it up.
do you think the hotels in Weymouth would be enough for the tourists that will be down here?
I think we've got to get a better range of hotels here in Weymouth, if I'm honest. And we've got plans for a 4-star hotel to be developed at Portland and Southwell. Portland Heights is already full. The other big hotel in Portland for 2012, as I understand it's already booked up. And we haven't got enough hotels at the top end of the market. We've got a tourist industry that's geared towards the sort of bucket and spade seaside holiday. And there are some who are now starting to make more money by having fewer bedrooms, by knocking walls down internally and just developing a much better quality of provision, charging more money, making more money. And I think we need to see a bit more of that. Some brave investment decisions by those individuals who run those establishments. But that will, I think, improve the overall economy because this is a great place to come and visit, not just to go to the seaside, but to walk the Jurassic Coast, to watch the sailing, to, we've got the diving industry in this area is the biggest in the country. There's all sorts of things that you can do down here, but if the accommodation is just at that lower level, with not enough through the rest of the sort of range that you need, then we're always going to struggle. So we need that development to take place.
So are you going to try build on the marketplace where in Portland, or you're just going to leave that?
But to some extent, it's up to the private sector to develop that provision in response to whatever demand they see developing. But I think there are things that we can do in the public, that the councils working with the Chamber of Commerce and those sorts of organisations could do. For example, by doing some research with, say, Bournemouth University, that have a really good department that work and research in the area of tourism, to research the potential market between now and 2012, and then be able to put together packages for those hoteliers to take to lending institutions, to banks, building societies and so on, and say, right, here we are, we've got an authoritative academic piece of research into how the demand will expand, and we need to develop the supply to match it, but we need to invest, lend us the money, it's a good risk, and then if we can help fund that sort of work for them so that they can then go into the private sector and get the money to do the investment, in the end they take on the risk themselves. But I think there's a bit of assistance we can do on the supply side. And also there's a bit we can do on training our people to do the work that's going to be required as well. So that it isn't just people from Eastern Europe, many of whom are coming in because people locally haven't got the skills and they don't want to do work in the hospitality industry. We need to upskill things a little ourselves as well.